All right, guys, good morning. We're going to be starting. Oh, we didn't do our morning meeting. Let's do our morning meeting first, and then we'll get started with our day. All right, we are going to be doing our Your Turn practice workbook. From there, we're going to work on our spelling and vocabulary test, our selection and comprehension test. You're going to put all your scores in your ELA Friday test grade book. After that, we have PE. After PE, you guys are going to take your end of your year test, which is going to be going through all of the different math topics that we've done in second grade. And then after you guys have lunch, you're going to do your read theory and online resources. I'm going to meet with students who have missing work and also our ELD students. Then we have our screen break. And then at 12:45, you guys are again going to just continue any incomplete or missing assignments. Then after that, you guys have your art, health, social, emotional learning activity. You guys can always click on this link and it'll show you the YouTube video on how you can complete that. And then you're going to read any book you would like for 20 minutes. All right. So let's go ahead and do our Your Turn practice book first. For your Turn practice workbook, if you are going to use if you're going to use online, you're going to go to Google Classroom, click on classwork, scroll down to ELA, and then you're going to open up your Turn workbook pages and click open with Cami. If you're just going to use your book that you have at home, you're going to get your Turn practice workbook out and go to page 269 to 270. We're going to start with page 270. We're going to start with page 270. And then Jason, was that you that just came into class? Or is that Kendall? Is this Jason or Kendall? You got to let me know.
It's Jason.
Thank you.
Miss,
Yes.
which book is it?
It's your Turn book. Your Turn workbook. Again, we're on page 270. We're going to page 270 first. The math test will be used on your report card. Okay. Make sure you guys get to class on time. Some of you guys, I've already marked you absent. Again, we are on page 270. Please turn to page 270. Okay. All right. Hector used text evidence to answer the prompt. How do people depend on Earth for energy? People depend on the sunlight and water on Earth for energy. The sun's energy goes into the water on Earth. People trap the energy in dams and use it to make electricity. The electricity travels through power lines to help light our towns and cities. Water is recycled in the water cycle. It never disappears, so it's always there for people to use. People also depend on Earth's water to drink, and the sun gives us food to eat. Plants use the sun's energy to grow. We use the plants, then the energy is in us. People depend on Earth to give us electricity, water to drink, and food to eat. So Circle one fact that Hector used from The Power of Water. Now, we did not read The Power of Water in class, so unless you guys read that on your own, however, you can use context clues. So I'm going to use my drawing tool. We're going to be circling for this one. So we know that we didn't read about the water cycle, and we know that the power of water is going to be the other story that we had not read yet. So we're going to look to see that. Okay. Water is recycled in the water cycle. So that is one fact from the story, The Power of Water. So go ahead and circle that. Okay, next step, draw a box. Draw a box around one content word that Hector used. So a content word is going to be a word that we don't normally use in our regular vocabulary. Like if we're just saying, hi, how are you? What's, and you're talking about the day, or you're writing an essay, normal words you might see are like the, on, and. But what would be a specific word that you might only see in specific writing? It could be words like electricity, energy in dams, sun's energy, sunlight. Those are all going to be content words. So you only need to box up one. So I'm going to box up electricity. Okay, next step, we've got underline. Underline a detail Hector used to develop his point. Underline a detail Hector used to develop his point. So usually when you want to develop your point, you usually put it in the beginning or an end. So we could say, people depend on sunlight and water on earth for energy. And also you guys can also underline the last sentence or conclusion. People depend on earth to give us electricity, water to drink, and food to eat. Now, write the article that appears twice in the first sentence on the line. Now, we have not talked much about articles. It did come up in our writing practice on Tuesday. However, what you can also look for are going to be words that you see in that first sentence. So people depend on the sunlight and the water on earth for energy. What is a word that you guys, there's two words that are used twice in that sentence. Can anyone find the two words that are used twice in that sentence? So I'll read it again. People depend on the sunlight and the water on earth for energy. There are two words that are used twice because we're looking for an article that appears twice.
People depend.
Sorry, one more time. I can't really hear you. Say it one more time.
People depend.
People depend. So it's got to be a word that you see used twice. I don't see the word people used again. I don't see the word depend used. You're just looking at this first sentence. Okay, I'll give you a hint. Okay. Yes, Sierra, go ahead.
Well, is the word on?
Ooh, so on it is a word that we see used twice. However, on is considered like a preposition or prepositional, a part of a prepositional phrase because it tells you where. So they depend on the sunlight. They depend on earth for energy. So it's what they're depending on. Sometimes you might say like, where are you? I am on the car, or I'm on top of the house. So which other, there's one more word that we see used twice. Articles help modify nouns. So like if I'm saying, talking about a dog, an article can be saying a dog or an egg or a person or
The?
an elephant. Very good. So another article you can use instead of saying a is the car, the elephant, the book. So the, a, and an are all articles, and the word the is used twice in the first sentence. Very good, guys. Okay, gonna give you guys 30 seconds to finish this up since this one doesn't have too much writing. And then we're gonna move to page 269. Okay, we're gonna move on to now page 269, okay? Read the draft model and use the questions that follow the draft to help you think about adding content words. So what content words can you add to tell about a radio, electricity, or a battery? Ready? A radio needs something to make it work. It can run on electricity. It can also run on a battery. Some radios have a sun panel to change the battery. So we want to use content words to tell us more about radios, electricities, and batteries. So a radio needs something to make it work. It can run on electricity. It can also run on a battery. Some radios have a sun panel to charge the battery. So we want to use content words, specific words that have to do with electricity and energy to help us with our writing. So let's talk more about a radio. So what is a radio? Does anyone know what a radio is? Has anyone ever used a radio? No.
I saw a radio. Well, I saw a radio outside.
I have.
And a
What-
solar panel.
Okay, so what is a radio?
Very music.
Okay, so a radio is something that plays music. It can also tell you the news, right? You guys might have radios in your car. So a radio needs something to make it play music or the news. And remember, the is an article. Now, what did I forget to do? I am writing a paragraph. What is the first mistake I've made so far? I did not indent. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. Okay, so now I indented. So a radio needs something to make it play music or the news. So now I put some content words so that you can know more about a radio. It can run on electricity. It can also run on a battery. So if it's running on batteries, we know what a battery is, or I hope you guys do. It's those little like cylinder usually or squarish shapes that you put inside of a radio, or you put inside of, I don't know, what would you guys use, like a flashlight or a toy, and then it powers that toy on. So how could you use a radio then? If you guys, think about what else could you guys use instead of a radio? Like a lamp. If you guys have a lamp, what do you have to do in order to make it turn on? It needs electricity. Or if you want to charge your phone,
Plug it in to
you
an
need to
outlet.
plug it into an outlet. Very good. So a radio needs something to make it play music or the news. First, because I like to use transition words, you can first, it can run on electricity by plugging it into an outlet. And the reason why you put an outlet instead of a outlet is because outlet starts with a vowel sound, sound. So a radio needs something to make it play. I'll put it in the chat afterwards. A radio needs something to make it play music or the news. First, it can run on electricity by plugging it into an outlet. Okay, next, it also, actually, let's use also instead. Also, it can run by putting batteries inside. And then the last one, I think we can leave it. Some radios have a sun panel to charge the battery. Kind of like what you guys see on top of our homes and our schools. Now, that is all you need to write because it does not ask you to add a conclusion. However, I would recommend you guys to have a conclusion for your writing. We're not going to do one today, but if you're a fluent writer, you're more than welcome to. If you're a fluent writer, I would write, in conclusion, these are a few ways to make a radio work. And we gave 3 ways. You can make it run on electricity by plugging it in, it can run on batteries that you put in, or it can run on solar panels, sun panels, that will charge the battery. If you guys have like a calculator at home, a lot of calculators run on sun power. There's like these like little black, like a little black strip, and then it uses the light to charge up the battery of the calculator so it'll turn on. Or if you guys have ever seen, like if you guys have glow in the dark stickers or anything, if you put the glow in the dark sticker or something on top of light, like really bright light for a long time, and then you turn off all the lights, all that the light is absorbed into that glow in the dark sticker or toy or whatever you have, that star. And then when all the lights go off, it exudes all of that energy. And then that's how it glows.
Actually, it's pronounced solar panel.
Very nice. So if this is a lot of writing for you to do right now, you do have time to work on it later today. I noticed that many of you guys are not utilizing the time for your asynchronous work. So if you aren't finishing it because you're getting too distracted, then come back to class. Then come back to class after, after school or during asynchronous time, or message me on Google Classroom, because there is plenty of time for you to get it done. All right. Now, perfect. I see that some of you guys are already done with your paragraph writing. So for those of you guys who are done, you are going to get started on your spelling and your vocabulary tests. Once you guys take those assessments, You guys are going to put your scores in your ELA Friday test grade book. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put your spelling test here. This is your spelling test. And then here is your vocabulary test. Okay. I just put in the chat the links to your spelling and vocabulary. If you are not in class today and you're watching this YouTube video, then what you can do is you're going to go to your weekly schedule, which you guys can find right here. I'm going to just skip to this page really quickly. And then right here where it says, please bookmark our weekly schedule. If you open this up, it'll take you to where you will see your spelling and vocabulary tests linked. Okay. Once you guys have taken, so right here, you can click on these links and it'll take you to your spelling and vocabulary. Once you have taken those 2 tests, what are you going to do? You're going to go to classwork. You're going to scroll all the way down to ELA. And then the first one on top of ELA where it says ELA Friday test grade book, try 3. You are going to open that up and you're going to put your scores under unit 6, week 2. We're under unit 6, week 2. So if you have not filled in all of the rest of these,
Mark,
yes.
my computer is really laggy, so I won't be able to do it that fast.
Okay, no worries. So if you are, if you have none of the rest of these filled out, make sure you get caught up. But we are going to be on unit 6, week 2. So it's going to be group K. And it's going to be the light pink colors. So you're going to answer all of these right here. Okay. So you're going to answer all of those. Make sure you put all your scores in, put your spelling and vocabulary. Then you're going to work on your selection test and your comprehension test. Once you get all 4 assessments done and put your scores in the grade book, you will be free to go unless you have missing work. Don't forget, once you're done with your assessments, you are going to then come back at 10:15 for math.